When everything broke inside and I could barely stand, my voice turned into ashes, trying not to fall again. The nights felt never ending, my faith began to fade, and in my wounded silence all I felt was losing strength. I held on to my pieces, afraid to disappear. My soul was crushed and empty, forgetting how to breathe. And when I fell the deepest, you came so close to me. You touched the pain I carried and made my heart believe. Even though I said nothing, you never walked away from me. When everything broke inside me, God began to rebuild my heart. In the weakest of my footsteps, His grace refused to let me fall apart. When everything broke inside me, He helped me breathe again. Where I only saw my wounds, Your hands began to mend. My nights kept repeating the fear of never healing, but You reached the deepest places that no longer wanted feeling. The cracks that used to hurt me became a gentle light, and inside all my ruins, Your peace returned to life. Even when I said I am tired, You whispered, come to me. Even when I said I am lost, Your hand still carried me. In the valley of my shadows, Your light began to beat, and the story I thought broken found strength to rise in me. When everything broke inside me, God taught me how to stand. He gathered every fragment and held them in His hands. When everything broke inside me, His love rescued my soul. And when I tried to surrender, Your voice made me whole. Now I breathe a little slower, but without the fear of falling, because in every shattered moment, You stayed through all my hurting. If one day I grow weaker or struggle just to rise, I will remember the moment when everything broke inside and You came into my life. I thought there was no way out, and my light was fading slow. My chest kept closing gently, with no strength left to hold. My name got lost in shadows that took away my air, and I cried like someone knowing there was nothing left to bear. I held the little light I left, afraid of falling once again. My soul was searching shelter, but did not know where to stand. And when I thought it was too late, I felt your steps return to me. You did not speak a single word, yet you held me so gently. Even when I had no faith, your hand refused to turn from me. God never let go. When I stopped trying to believe, He gathered all my tears and held my heart to breathe. God never let go. Even when I doubted me, in the slowest of my footsteps, He chose to come to me. God never let go. When I stopped trying to believe, He gathered all my tears and held my heart to breathe. God never let go. Even when I doubted me, in the slowest of my footsteps, He chose to come to me. My ruin spoke too loudly and would not let me think, but you touched my broken story without asking me to speak. You healed what kept on hurting and helped my lungs to rise, and the soul that once was shattered began to come alive. Even when I said I cannot, you answered I am here. And even when I said I am lost, you still drew close and near. Inside the weight I carried, you taught me not to flee. And I learned that in my desert, you never left me lonely. God never let go. When everything inside me fell, He took my broken fragments and held them in Himself. God never let go. When I let go of me, in the nights with no answers, He came and rescued me. God never let go, and His love brought me to life. When I had no strength remaining, His grace became my light. God never let go, and I say it now again, because where I saw only death, you taught my heart to live. Now I rest inside your promise, even when the daylight stings, and if fear begins to tremble, I know you will come for me. soul grew tired slowly, trying hard not to fall. The weight of all my story kept me blinded through it all. My hands began to tremble, afraid to fail again, and every step I managed pushed me farther back instead. I hid my every thought in corners filled with fear. My voice was torn and fragile, and my chest had lost its heat. And when I dropped my gaze down, believing it was the end, I felt your steps approaching, searching what was left in me. And even when I had no strength, you never stopped coming for me. God lifted me up when I could no longer move. He took my quiet sorrow and taught my heart His truth. God lifted me up when I could not believe in me. And even with my broken soul, He chose to come for me. God lifted me up when I could no longer move. He took my quiet sorrow and taught my heart His truth. God lifted me up when I could not believe in me. And even with my broken soul, He chose to come for me. My nights were long and heavy, and breathing felt unsure. But you touched my frozen winter and woke me from the blur. The tears that kept on falling, you gathered one by one, and the soul that once was drowning began to rise again with you. Even when I said I cannot, you whispered, come to me. Even when I said I am empty, your strength came into me. At the moment I was weakest, you never stepped away. And I learned that in my breaking, you were fighting for my name. God lifted me up when everything inside me broke. He gathered all my fragments and held them in His love. God lifted me up when fear started winning me. And even when I tried surrendering, your light wrapped around me. God lifted me up, and today my soul can say, when I lost all of my direction, you shined yourself my way. God lifted me up and found me in my shadow place, because where I only saw ruin, you saw who I could be. Now I lift my eyes again, without the fear to quit, because in every broken moment, you were always here with me. could not go on, and the weight began to drown. My chest was barely breathing, and my knees were giving out. My trembling hands were hiding, as if they feared the light, and every silent moment felt harder to survive. I placed my tears in shadows, afraid of falling once again. My voice was faint and shaking, like a heart without defense. But in the quiet darkness, where hope was fading thin, I felt your gentle footsteps, and strength came back within. Even when I whispered nothing, you still kept coming close to me.
You carried me through when I could no longer stand. You held my deepest weakness inside your steady hands. You carried me through when I doubted who I am.
And even in my emptiness, you stayed and helped me rise again. Inside your steady hands, you carried me through when I doubted who I am. And even in my emptiness, you stayed and helped me rise again. My nights felt cold and endless, and fear was hard to tame. But you touched the storm inside me and whispered my own name. The tears I thought were wasted, you gathered one by one, and the heart I thought was breaking found strength to breathe again in you. Even when I said I am tired, you answered, come to me. Covered me in the valley of my shadows. You fought the dark for me, and I learned that in my weakness, your strength is where I breathe. You carried me through when everything inside me fell. You gathered all my pieces and healed what no one else could heal. Carried me through when fear was chasing me, and even when I almost gave up, your light refused to leave. You carried me through, and today my soul believes. When I had nothing left inside, your grace restored my peace. You carried me through and found me in my need, because where I only saw the end, you saw who I could be. Now I walk a little stronger, though I still remember pain, because in every hidden battle, you were with me in the flame. Came to you in pieces with nothing left to give. My heart was barely beating, and I forgot how to live. My fears were standing over me like storms I could not fight, and every breath felt fragile, as if it could break inside. I tried to hide my weakness so no one else would see, but the more I held my burden, the more it tortured me. And when my voice was shaking and hope was caving in, I felt your quiet mercy inviting me again. And even when I lost my strength, your presence didn't leave. So I surrendered all, because I could not carry me. You took the weight I held and pulled my soul to breathe. So I surrendered all when I had no victory. And even in my breaking, your arms were holding me. So I surrendered all, because I could not carry me. You took the weight I held and pulled my soul to breathe. So I surrendered all when I had no victory. And even in my breaking, your arms were holding me. My doubts began to loosen like chains that slowly fall. And where I felt so empty, you started filling all. You touched the fear inside me and turned it into peace. And the heart I thought was ruined found room to rise again. Even when I whispered I am done, you said I'm here with you. Even when I cried I'm not enough, you showed me what is true. In the shadows I kept hiding, your light kept breaking through. And I learned that full surrender is where you make me new. So I surrendered all when everything in me collapsed. You gathered all my pieces and held them in your hand. So I surrendered all when fear began to laugh. And even when I lost myself, your love was holding fast. So I surrendered all, and my soul can finally rest. Where I saw only failures, you whispered I am blessed. So I surrendered all, and now I stand again. Because where I saw the end of me, you saw where hope began. Now I walk with open hands, without the need to hide. Because the day I truly surrendered, you stayed right by my side. I woke up with new breathing after nights I could not stand. The weight that once had crushed me felt lighter in your hands. My tears became a memory of battles I survived, and all that once was broken found meaning in your light. I used to fear the silence as if it meant the end, but now I see your mercy was teaching me again. And every healed moment reminds me I'm not alone, because when I lost my strength, you carried me back home. So here I am, remembering the grace you placed in me. Thank you for the moments that taught my heart to sing. Thank you for the quiet where I could hear you speak. Thank you for the ashes you turned to gentle peace, because every step I'm taking is proof you carried me. Thank you for the moments that taught my heart to sing. Thank you for the quiet where I could hear you speak. Thank you for the ashes you turned to gentle peace, because every step I'm taking is proof you carried me. My nights began to soften as you calmed what lived in me, and storms that once felt endless lost power when you breathed. You lifted old burdens I thought would never leave, and the heart that once was trembling now rises when it beats. When I whispered I am nothing, you said you made me whole. When I feared I had no future, you held my fragile soul. In the places I felt empty, your love began to grow, and gratitude inside me became the song I know. Thank you for the moments that brought me back to life. Thank you for the story you healed inside my mind. Thank you for the mornings that came after the night, because every breath I'm holding is soaked in your light. Thank you for the mercy that caught me when I fell. Thank you for the promise that turned my heart to rest. Thank you for the kindness that met me in my mess, because where I once saw broken, you saw who I could become. So I carry this gratitude in every step I take, because the God who stayed beside me keeps leading me with grace.